Good morning. Jesus. Good morning and good evening to Leaders Worldwide Toastmasters Club. It is October 25th and a birthday, a very special day. I'm Sally Reyes, you're acting as Sergeant at Arms, and please take your phone out and set it to silence. And please help me to greet our president, the impossible dreamer who fearlessly leads us to a world as neighbors and to reach for the stars. That would be Distinguished Toastmaster Cynthia Stott. Take it away, Cynthia.
Thank you, Sally. Impossible dreamer, yes. Many times I think I dream too impossibly for my team to catch up. But here we are again today. And yes, it is our anniversary, our first anniversary. We just became 1 year old on Saturday. Woohoo! Exciting. Hard to believe that it's only been 1 year and we're such a big club. We've got 500 people on our email list. They're from 36 countries and 16 US states and growing. We've got so many amazing guests here today and members here today. And then we're going to recognize our charter members and our DTMs and our dignitaries, all that. So happy that you are here today to help us celebrate. First of all, I'd like to read the Toastmasters mission and vision. Toastmasters International mission. We empower individuals to become more effective communicators and leaders. Club mission. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Our international values are integrity, respect, service, and excellence. And here at Leaders Worldwide, our club is a specialty club designed for politicians, business and nonprofit leaders, entrepreneurs, and others who want to make their message heartfelt, authentic, and ready for the worldwide stage. So I'm so glad you are here today. And we're going to have a very special meeting. We have a special guest that's been invited as our keynote speaker. We also have all our role players are from the Speechcraft program that we've been running since mid-September, and it's going all the way till March. And that is Michelle Pedicolis, who's going to be our Toastmaster of the day, our general evaluator, who is Kathleen Pill, our speaker, who is Linda Patton, and evaluator, who is me. And we're really happy to be preparing this special meeting for you. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce our beautiful and talented and intelligent Dr. Michelle Pedicolis. Thank you. Woohoo!
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, for that lovely introduction. I really appreciate it. And I love the what we're going to be doing today. I'm very excited about that as well. This year anniversary is amazing. I just wanted to let all of our guests understand that, first of all, I'm going to introduce our speakers. We're going to start out with our keynote speaker and then our speaker after the break. And I'm also want to introduce the general evaluator, Kathleen Phil, who will explain her role. Go ahead, Kathleen.
I will conduct the evaluation portion of the meeting, which will just consist this time of one evaluation of this one marvelous speech. And Cynthia will be doing her best to offer stretch goals to the already accomplished Ms. Linda Patton. And then I'll give a quick evaluation of the evaluation and then just introduce the the role players who keep us on track and improving.
So speaking of role players, one of our role players is Sally Reyes, who is going to be our grammarian. Sally, would you briefly introduce the role of the grammarian? And before you do that, I want to introduce the theme of the day, since you're going to give us the word of the day. And the theme of the day is, we've only just begun.
Thank you so much. And as a attachment to that is beginning. So I'm looking for that word of the day in any form, please, from you in your speeches and remarks. And I also am counting the ums and the ahs and unnecessary words, but sometimes I see some outstanding ones that I may bring to your attention. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sally. And next, I want to introduce our timer, Isaac Ford. Isaac is going to explain to us the purpose of the role of timer and how to watch him and have him help you time your speeches. Go ahead,
Thank you,
Isaac.
Madam Toastmaster. My role tonight will be to time the different segments, the table topics, prepared speakers, and keynote speaker. So an example, if the speaker time is from 5 to 7 minutes, when they reach 5 minutes, I will show the green. At 6 minutes, the yellow. And at 7 minutes, the red, and they will have 15 or 30 seconds to wrap up. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Well, Isaac, since the very first one you're going to be timing is the keynote speaker, would you give her her timing cues?
Yes, the keynote speaker's time is 15 minutes. So at the 13-minute mark, I will show the green. At the 14-minute mark, yellow. And at the 15-minute mark, red. And she will have 30 seconds to wrap up. And also what I would like to say is every speaker, please pin the timer so you'll be able to see the time.
It's so important. The good thing is that Isaac has great timing cards. They're really easy to spot. So if you want to, you can always just put yourself in gallery view and you'll be sure to see him. Today,
Michelle, may I
Yes.
interrupt? I'm sorry. I just wanted to note that Isaac Ford, who's our timer, and Sally Reyes, who's our grammarian, are also members of our very special speech graph. So that's why they were chosen as role players today. So thank you very much, Isaac and Sally.
thank you, Cynthia, for pointing that out. That's very true. Now we are going to begin with our keynote speaker, and the speech title is, So What Do You Think? Horrifying things happen to leaders and speakers. Sometimes we simply worry they will happen, and then there are those times when they really do happen to us. Today, we hear how those horrifying moments can actually be the best path to connecting with our listeners. Whoa, that's interesting. When we connect with our listeners, we build and strengthen a bond that lets us lead them, coach them, and mentor them for the betterment of all. Our speaker joined Toastmasters, and who is our speaker? Our speaker is Margaret Hope. Joined Toastmasters about 47 years ago. Oh my gosh, were you even alive then? Yeah. She is a DTM, an accredited speaker, and a past international director. Through her company, she coaches speakers and delivers customized training for various businesses and professional organizations. She is the author of You're Speaking, but Are You Connecting? Her clients say she is thoroughly professional, but ever so slightly irreverent. I would like to now introduce Margaret Hope to the stage.
We want to make sure she gets the laughs. So Sally Reyes, if you
Right.
could open your mic, please. We want to hear your lovely laugh so that Margaret knows when to pause for her humor. And would anyone else like to open their mic? She wants about 4 or 5 people.
Well, I see Sheena's got her mic open, and I think she's got a pretty good laugh.
Yeah, and Isaac, all right.
And Kathleen's open, so she's got some people.
Okay, awesome. Take it away.
Thank you, Cynthia, and thank you, Toastmaster Michelle. Michelle won't know this, but International Past President Pat Johnson introduced me at a conference some years back. She stumbled over the final line of that introduction. And instead of describing me as thoroughly professional and ever so slightly irreverent, she managed to say that I was thoroughly professional and ever so slightly irrelevant. Thank you for that reaction. We are bonded in these horrible moments as speakers when things happen to us. And that's our commonality today. We're all leaders and we're all speakers. So you know that when I suffered, it could have been you. And that, of course, is our connection. Humor is about connection. In fact, I read an article many years ago that said systemically the effect on our body of giving a presentation is like standing in front of a mirror, taking off all your clothes, turning around slowly.
God forbid.
And then it said, if you want to use humor in a speech, it's like standing in front of your audience, taking off all your clothes, turning around slowly, and then saying, so what do you think? It's got that extra element of fear involved. And yet it is one of our most powerful connectors as leaders and speakers. This ability to take the stories of our lives, the experiences of our lives, and somehow bring those to others so that we grow and develop as leaders and we bring others along with us. So today I want to talk, as I often do, about the art of connection, but also to talk about how that strengthens our relationships with others. Yours is a club with an amazing one-year history, which I'll talk about a little bit later in the proceedings today. But what I've noticed is how you coach and coax each other and compliment each other. You're building rapport all the way through. So you already know a lot of what I'm talking about, this power of humanness to connect us and bond us and make us better leaders. I have to say that for me, humor has always been a huge challenge. It is not a slam dunk for me. I wasn't born differently than any of you. But I have learned along the way. One time with a very large audience, I had gone to the convention center and checked out the stage the day before, as any of you would have done. It was a beautiful stage, beautiful draping behind it, easy access. I got up, I'd been introduced, I began into my speech. My audience was fine. They were responding as I would have expected, when suddenly I realized there were people all over the audience looking like they were suppressing laughter. And I wasn't in the funny bit. After a moment or two, they were no longer suppressing the laughter. It was, and then it was so much that I couldn't keep going. And I realized they were looking not at me, but right past me. And I turned and looked, and for some reason, the drape that had been there was pulled open. It was a hotel. The convention center had an old part of the hotel and a newer part, and there was a swimming pool with a link between the two sections. And the pathway was right behind that stage with big windows. Now you're imagining a parade of people going by. It wasn't. It was just one little girl, 3 years old, still had the pouty little tummy that little girls have. And she was stark naked. Well, that's not actually true, because on her finger she had a piece of cloth that was probably her bathing suit.
Oh.
And I was dumbfounded. Suddenly an adult came along. I don't know if it was her mother or if it was her guardian, her nanny, I'm not sure. But she looked, saw all of us in this giant audience in this room, and gave us the universal signal. I'm going to ask you to show me right now, what is that for? What do you do with kids when they do these things? It was someone, she got the little girl out of the way. Someone pulled the drapes. I'm standing on stage and I am now brain dead. Nothing. Of course, it felt like hours to me, but somebody in the front row, gentlemen, must have recognized my problem, because he said to me in a loud voice, he stood up and his arm went out and he said, if you'd known that nudity would work so well with this audience, you probably would have tried it yourself. And all I had to do was a little pretend strip tease up there on the stage. My thoughts came back. I finished the speech, and it was a great experience because I had now bonded with the audience, not because of what I had done, but because of what this fine gentleman had done. He had seen my discomfort. He had connected us in a way that I couldn't have done myself unless my brain had been working. Then maybe I could have. But he saw the problem and he connected me. I'm forever grateful. Don't know who he was, but oh my goodness, he did me a service. There have been other times as my career moved on where I have been able to rescue myself. And one of those happened when I was asked to address a cashiers conference. I don't know what grocery store cashiers or clerks would be like where you live, but these young women had been brought in from rural grocery stores all over the province of British Columbia and Alberta, the two provinces that I live in one and I'm closest to the next. And they were from small towns. They were there as an award for them, and they got a keynote speech in the morning and some workshops and a little tour and some games. It was a lovely day for them. But they are from small towns, and small towns in British Columbia are conservative. Not only that, but the grocery chain I was speaking to, their CEO, their owner, is known to be very conservative. I had arrived, I'd gone to my room, I'd set it up, I arrived to the breakfast room to join them for breakfast before my speech. And something was happening at the front. There was a gentleman standing behind a lectern, and everybody was standing around their tables, very quietly, looking down. And I assumed that because it was a conservative organization, that he was probably offering an invocation or prayer. And I stood there quietly thinking, I can't go into the room while this is going on. And then presently, there was some uncomfortable laughter. And the chap who had invited me there beckoned me into the room. And just as I entered, I heard the man say something that no woman ever wants to hear. And for your lighter days, we have the following items. 4 women were there with their male bosses being sold by one of our large suppliers of women's sanitary items from the lectern before they were even allowed to have breakfast. And you're thinking that's the worst thing that happened? No. As they'd arrived that morning, he'd had his sales team out sampling them. They'd been given packages of this material that he was now selling. They didn't know where to look. You could tell they were humiliated and upset, and they were dealing with it with laughter. I left the room a little early after my breakfast to go make final setup, and so I didn't see the next thing that happened. But apparently the salespeople were outside again as they left. They got resampled, and then they moved to the door of my room and sampled these poor women a third time. And I'm supposed to have an uplifting keynote after this experience. I was introduced. And I looked out at that audience of women who would love to have gone back to their homes and never see Vancouver again. So as I started, something came to me. I said, in my speech today, I promise there will be no free samples. So as in each of the other examples I've given, in that moment of our distress, of our mutual distress, we were connected. It is something that would be so uncomfortable for these women. And I somehow managed out of my adult brain to pull the one line that got me a standing ovation, earliest I've ever had one in a speech, and got us united enough to go on with the message. So as I think about our job as leaders, I think our job is to connect. It's to bring others along with us. And in order to do that, we have to be on the same wavelength. We have to care, and we have to let them know that we care what's happening. So that's why I thank you for your laughter, because it's there's fewer signs that people are enjoying themselves when you're on Zoom. When we're with a live audience, we're getting that energy back from them, and we can think, go that way, don't go that way, zigzag, zigzag. But we don't get to do that nearly as much when we're on Zoom. So thank you for being responsive. By the way, that story also reminds me that you really want to follow somebody who's worse than you. As a speaker, when I get behind somebody who's really bad, I think, what a blessing that was. And so that's exactly what happened to me when I was in Barbados giving a speech. Now, Barbados, for those of you who haven't been there, beautiful sandy beaches, temperature about 90 degrees all day long. I was there to talk to travel agents, who at that time, there were lots of travel agents. And we were staying at a lovely Divvy Southwinds resort. And on that day, it was Divvy Day. They were honoring the resort by wearing their little white Divvy t-shirts and their little blue shorts. So I had an audience of a couple of hundred people. But just prior to me, another speaker had started out very well, but had a dismal failure of content, gone way over time, still saying nothing, kept them past their morning break. So they emerged from this meeting room, which was now hot and humid as the morning warmed up, to their pastries covered in flies. They did not come back from that in a happy mood. And somebody had realized the room was hot, so they turned on the air conditioning full. So here's these people who are now hot and sweating, sitting under very cold air vents.
Good.
I was okay. I was wearing my canary yellow suit and my gray pumps. And this is important. They had really high heels. I'm a tall person, but I like to be bigger. So there I was on stage delivering a speech about the effect of body language on client relationships. When all of a sudden I fell through the stage.
Oh no.
Well, if I'd really fallen all the way, it would have been a good thing. This speech was not going particularly well. I have to be honest with you. They were too unhappy to love my speech. And I didn't fall all the way through. But this stage that looked like it was solid was just little sections of stage covered in burlap. And so what was happening here, of course, was that I was on stage and I had slipped between two sections of the stage. So the heel of my shoe is now nailed to the surface of the stage. And I did what all of you women would have done.
Take your shoes.
I did what all of you women would have done. I scrunched my toes and I desperately tried to pull my shoe up and I was unable to do it. So now I am stuck to the stage. And by the way, it's body language speech. So I'm trying to deliver my speech because the show is long while I am stuck to the stage. Still no reaction from my audience. They either didn't acknowledge my discomfort or enjoyed it greatly, but quietly. And so I finally gave up. I told a couple of really bad jokes that I could think of. And then they were laughing a little. And I pulled my shoe out of the stage and admitted what had happened. And they laughed with a belly laugh that was rewarding. And we got the air conditioning turned down and they had a little stretch. And then we sat down and continued the presentation. We connected because of my disaster. So when I think about connection, I think it isn't all the things we plan. Sometimes it's what just comes into our mind that is right now. And we have to trust ourselves that something could be happening right now that would be the gift of the moment. One of the gifts I've been given in my life is why I joined Toastmasters. I don't know if any of you remember your first real career, but mine was teaching children. I'm not good with children. It was a really poor decision that the school board ever hired me. But I thought I had kind of a gift with the parents. So when I got to meet the teacher night, or as we called it, meet the creature night, I had prepared my classroom. I taught 7th grade. So I moved a nice chair opposite my desk. I cleaned off my desk. I selected from my post-college wardrobe a vivid blouse and a short skirt. And the gentleman who came, oh yeah, not a mummy, a daddy comes first. And he comes and sits right beside me and makes eye contact with my knees.
Mm.
I hoped it was my knees. Not sure. So in that moment, ladies and gentlemen, I learned that I needed to go to Toastmasters. As a friend of mine says, going to Toastmasters isn't enough. Sitting in a meeting is not going to make you a speaker and leader any more than sitting in your garage makes you into a car or an automobile. So ladies and gentlemen, my final message is get out there, embrace this opportunity to connect with others and embrace your Toastmaster opportunity to become better speakers and leaders.
So true.
Wow, Margaret, that was just fabulous. So I believe that we have a QA right now. Is that true?
That's true.
Yes, that's true.
And are you leading the QA or am I?
I am.
Okay, you got it.
Great. Thank you, Michelle. Oh my gosh, another big round of applause for Margaret Hope. I think that was funnier than one of the presenters who was supposed to be teaching us about humor. So you definitely taught us about humor at the same time that you were just hilarious. I love it. I love it. I love it. So if you have any comments or questions, please put them in the chat for Margaret. Accolades. Tell her how much you love that. Sure. And any questions that you have, I'm going to just start us off with humor is such an amazing, disarming tool. And you taught us through the time that you were through your whole presentation, from the naked 3-year-old to you being stapled to the stage, that it's really a way to connect with your audience. And so can you tell us a little bit more about that?
I can. I wrote a book about connecting because I realized that most of my clients, and several of you do speech coaching, but many of my clients were good, but they were missing this chance to bring their own lives to it. So I do a lot of work with people on getting them to find their stories. But I want to say something else here, Cynthia, and that is that truly this last pathway that Toastmasters brought us, engaging humor, it was the most terrifying one to me, and I knew I needed to do it. So to actually address and work on humor, and I'd had previous failure, so I knew that I was not good at humor particularly.
Yes, and many of us are not born with a funny bone or humor. In fact, I have a very good laugh. I kept myself muted because I have some feedback, but I have a contagious laugh. I've made 100 yoga instructors, while they were learning to instruct, break out into terrible laughter. 80 of them. So I'm good at that, but I was not good at telling the jokes and getting people to laugh. So I'm starting to learn that myself, but it is a skill. So I want to start off with some of the questions we have here in the chat. Rosalind Khan said exactly. I don't know what she said, but she was agreeing with you. Taufik says, amazing. I kept drooling. And Kathleen Pill said, I love that. Find the common experience in the now to connect. And then Toastmaster Michelle Peticola said, OMG, you are amazing. How do you remind yourself to use the upset to connect to your audience? The upset to connect to your audience. And that's really important to remember that in the moment, because we could be so humiliated that we can't think of it.
And to accept that we make mistakes and that may be the factor, because we're always trying to cover them up.
Yes.
And instead of covering them up, if you lay an egg, stand back and admire it, because at least then the audience can have fun with it.
I've never heard that. If you laid an egg, stand back and admire it.
Someone gave me that in my first Toastmaster club, and it has hit my brain.
Oh, that's fabulous. Fabulous. Okay. And Rosalind Khan says, it was incredible. You knew exactly when to stop and allow the audience to laugh. I love that. And that's why you want us to open our mics, so you can tell when you need to stop. You don't want to step on those laughs. Sally sounds like she's enjoying.
I am almost to tears. Yes.
And Eileen said, our guest says, enjoyed your humor speech, loved the laughter. And Taufik, again, our VPVR, said, good way to inspire through humor. Loved it. If one wants to participate in humor speech contest, what should we practice? Good question.
Am I to answer that?
Yeah.
So I'm not particularly skilled at speech contests. I haven't been since I was a child, but I think one of the things to really look for is, what do you find funny that other people also find funny? So when my friend gave me that line that I used in this speech about expecting to be good in Toastmasters just by showing up is like sitting in your garage expecting to become an automobile. It absolutely connected with me. And it is stuck in my brain and I can't get rid of it, because I see Toastmasters who join but don't grasp that opportunity. They don't take the leadership roles. They don't get through the Pathways program. So I look at that and go, really? You paid your money and you're not getting your benefit from it? So that line for me, I just, if we're here, makes the best of every day that we're here.
Oh, absolutely. Get your money's worth out of Toastmasters. Every single penny.
And so if it's humor, go for it.
Yes.
Practice it here where it's reasonably safe.
Yes.
I mean, the worst that's going to happen.
What was that? I'm sorry.
I said the worst that's going to happen is you're going to fall through a stage.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Yeah, we always clap at Toastmasters. We always clap and you always pass. And maybe we could say we always laugh. Great. Linda Patton says, how do I follow that awesome speech? You definitely were so good. It will be difficult to follow. And Linda, you are very funny too. So I bet you could tune up your humor in your speech right on the spot. I have all faith in you. And then Kathleen Pill says, wonderful. I will remember that forever. Whoa. When you lay an egg, stand back and admire it. I love that. I love that. Kathleen Kahn says, so how did you get the foot stuck? How did you get your foot unstuck?
It was just the heel of my shoe that I'd gone through. And when I finally quit, I just bent down and I took my foot out. So I'm now standing on stage with one foot in a high heel and one naked. And I just wrenched that shoe up and held it up. And that was the moment when it was like, okay, what else could possibly go wrong here? And I didn't have to say a thing. And I really did act. I really went with the really bad walk that you get when you have a 2.5-inch heel and one foot absolutely flat. It's remarkable. But the egg thing, you may as well enjoy it.
May as well enjoy it. I love that. Just admire it. Oh, love it. Love it. That takes a certain level of consciousness for a human being to be able to admire the egg that they just laid.
You know, just do everything. I think humor is very much about wearing it. Like, just be bigger. That's not the only thing that's involved. You really have to be brave. I call that manual the Black Diamond Pathway. Black Diamond skiing and snowboarding is the toughest run down the hill. And that pathway is, for me, it's the Black Diamond. It's tough.
Wow.
And
And Sheena Walker says, my humor comes from my disasters. Absolutely. That definitely.
Yeah.
And then Rosalind Coniscan says, how did you get, we got that already. And she says, awesome. So that was absolutely wonderful. That's all of our questions, and that's all the time we have for questions. But wow, you were just a delight, Margret. Oh, what a delight. I just love your speech. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. And we're excited to have the ceremony after the break. So I'm going to give it back to our Toastmaster, Dr. Michelle Petticolis. Take it away, Michelle.
Thank you, Cynthia. And I just want to thank our keynote speaker again for a delightful presentation. Really enjoyed it. I'm inspired. I believe my next pathway is going to be the humor pathway. I know I need help on that one. I know. That basically my idea of humor is, what is it, deprecating humor? So I guess that's a little bit about disasters, right? Now we have a, how many minute, 5-minute break. So you can all go ahead and put your screens, your video on hold and your audio off, and we will be back in 5 minutes. And those of you who are guests who have not signed the guest registry, we would really like you to do that. In particular, Joe, have you signed it yet? Yes, you have. Yay! Yay, Joe. And who else?
Yay!
We have Anita Cote.
Oh,
We need you
great.
to sign. And Dorothy, we need you to sign. And
Great.
Eileen, oh, Eileen signed. You're good. Roger,
Good.
you could sign. Yeah, we've got a great, great group of.
Great group. I'm sorry? What was that?
That
I
wasn't
think
me.
somebody tried to say something.
Maybe not to us.
Okay. Good to see
However,
you,
if you
Anita.
do have questions, Cynthia is still here and I'm still here. We can.
5 minutes, and I've just got the time, so I have to go back on, and I can talk to you again. Okay, bye.
Oh, Isaac, can you mute Sheena first, please? Thank you.
And Isaac, if you would put 5 minutes on the timer, we can go to
Yes.
break.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yes, I did do that.
Thank you, Isaac, for
Thank
being
you.
proactive.
Yes.
I'm hello and welcome back to the next portion of the Leaders Worldwide celebration anniversary. We are going to begin with our president introducing the voting portion of bringing in our new members to our club. So if Cynthia, if you would please take the stage. Thank you.
Okay, make sure I'm plugged in here. All right, so could we have the names of the members that are going to be inducted on the screen, please? Either Margaret, if you could do that, or...
Yes, I'll put that up.
Okay, great. Try to get myself plugged in here. Okay. And the next slide, please.
Yes, I'm just perfecting this a tiny bit.
Okay. Okay, our new members. Do we have Marcus Martinez? Are you here? If we could spotlight him. Did he make it in? Okay. What about Dr. Nadine James? Did she make it in?
I don't believe so.
Okay, and Dawn Gardner.
She's not here.
Okay, so we just have Carla Riekman. I'm pretty sure she's here, is she?
She's here.
All right, could we spotlight her, please? And Sheena Walker, if we could spotlight her. So everyone can see. Welcome, Sheena, and welcome, Carla. You're our newest members. And then for all of our members, would you please private chat to our secretary, which is our Toastmaster of the day, Dr. Michelle Peticolis, private chat to her, whether you want to vote Sheena Walker and Carla Richmond as our newest members. So yes or no or abstention. And then we'll get a report from our secretary if they have been voted in or not. And Carla, would you like to say something briefly to our members? Put you on the spot here.
Could you please give me a way to know? I have no idea what to say right now.
Well, just say hello.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
And introduce yourself.
I am Carla. I am the host of 2 internet shows. One is the Learn English by Speaking English show, where I coach people to feel confident speaking English. And the other show is Mindful with Carla and Friends, where we dive deep into topics that expand the mind and help one to grow to feel more of themselves.
Great. And you have an upcoming English conference on
Oh, yeah.
November 7th and 8th. Great. And I'm one of your speakers. I know there's probably several speakers from Leaders Worldwide on your conference. Thank you very much, Carla. And I want to make sure everyone knows we're sending a, yes, Michelle says vote. She has a question. Nobody's sending her vote. Please, if you're a member of Leaders
You
Worldwide.
need to vote, Cynthia.
I'm sorry?
You need to vote.
Oh, is that the only one you need?
Oh, I need Isaac. And I think that's it. Well, I actually don't know where my list is not showing up right now.
Sally says yes. Yes.
I voted.
Yes, I've got you. Sandra, you need to vote.
Well, who do I send it to?
Me, Michelle.
Okay.
No idea.
And while we're doing that, Sheena, if you would like to introduce yourself to the members, that would be great.
I have to swallow my biscuit.
You drop an egg and fire it.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, and all my delightful friends at Toastmasters for making me always feel so welcome. It's much appreciated. Thank you for that. Well, I'm in Scotland and I work as in performance mastery. I work with individuals and companies and develop their performance in business and public speaking in business. I'm particularly keen on sport, and I'm not a cooking goddess at all. I'm a sport goddess. So that's a very major part of my life. Right now, I'm working with companies, helping them to redesign them and redesign their services in light of lockdown to help them get back on track. I'm also the owner of a podcast, The Dynamic Voice, and I've co-authored a book, Global Impact Makers. Just love doing all of that, but I love most of all adding value to other people. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And Michelle, our secretary, tells us that we have a unanimous yes vote for both Sheena and Carla. So we're going to be able to induct them into our club. So take it away, Margaret. Thank you so much. And thank you, Margaret, for inducting our members. This is so special for them and just such a delight.
Thank you very much for inviting me to do this. And I'm delighted, Carla and Sheena, that you are here and that you have chosen to join Toastmasters. I don't know if it's the first time for each of you, but I know that joining a Toastmaster club can make the single biggest difference in our own pushing forward beyond what we're already brilliant at. So I'm delighted that you're here today. Now, as most of you would know, I'm having trouble getting my screen to forward. Just there we go. There is a Toastmaster promise, and Carla and Sheena have had a moment, I'm sure, to read this promise. But first of all, they promise to attend meetings regularly. Your club makes that so easy with having meetings at different times of day that could suit somebody. To prepare all of your projects to the best of your ability and to base them on our education program. So it's all right once in a while, like to do a speech if you've got a eulogy at a funeral and you want to practice it in front of your club, that's okay. But look generally to push yourself through pathways in a reasonable order and think of completing a pathway at least once a year, because that's really where our strength lies, in forcing ourselves to practice and rehearse. And not just showing up, like the car or being in the garage, it doesn't make you into an automobile. So not just showing up, but making sure that each time you come, that you take on the tasks and that you take them on fully. To provide fellow members with helpful, constructive evaluations. I know this group is so helpful to one another, but really focus on how that person can feel even better as a speaker and a leader than worrying about whether you agree with them or not. Help maintain the club as a positive and friendly environment. I think it would be hard to not do that, but it is necessary. If our members are going to grow and learn from us, they need to take that on. Treat your fellow members and your guests with as much courtesy as you possibly can. To bring guests to meetings, I was delighted to hear somebody say, oh, that's my special guest. I invited that person. That's our job, to bring a guest every couple of meetings. And one of the times I like to bring a guest, if I can, is when I'm speaking, because I'll say to them, look, I'm giving a speech tonight. I'm really nervous about it. Would you come as my special guest? So I'll have one person in the group that I feel comfortable with. In reality, I feel comfortable with my Toastmaster Club. I don't need them there for comfort, but I want them to experience what I experience every day. So I encourage you to invite others to your meeting. Bring those guests. Adhere to the guidelines and rules of the Toastmaster Education and Recognition Program. We're going to recognize some people tonight. And to act within the Toastmaster core values: integrity, respect, service, and excellence in everything you do in Toastmasters. Carla, can you agree? Can you put on your microphone for a second? Can you agree to uphold the Toastmaster promise?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Carla. And can you do that for us, Sheena?
Of course I can. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Now, this is a little like a baptism. You've both promised, and of course, if you were parents at a Christian baptism, at least, you would be promising your child's life. We're now going to go to the congregation, to the rest of the club members, and I'm going to ask you to respond to the club pledge. And that is, and you're just going to use the words "we will" at the end of this, and I'll prompt you for them. We, the members of Leaders Worldwide Toastmasters Club, pledge to support Carla and Sheena in their quest for self-development.
We will.
To provide them with positive, helpful evaluations, to maintain that friendly, supportive atmosphere that'll make it possible for them to succeed, and to give opportunities to them so they can help others, and to make your Toastmasters membership, their Toastmasters membership, a rewarding and fulfilling experience. Members of Leaders Worldwide, please say "we will."
We will.
We will.
We will.
It's a lovely pledge. I love how you've laid it out for everybody. In Toastmasters, we are responsible to one another, but in Toastmasters, we know that this is our opportunity to act something that we do for business. We do it because we're politicians. We do it because we're leaders in our communities, but there is more risk. Here in Toastmasters is a safe place to fall down, scrape your knee, climb back up, get a Band-Aid on it, and keep going. Again, my screen is frozen. I'll not make it go to the next slide.
It's a separate slide, so you have to pull
It
it up.
was, but I had combined them, so I don't know what's happened because it's not come up. So I will go to the other slide, but it'll take me a moment to bring it up.
No problem. So congratulations, Carla and Sheena. Woohoo!
And what a date to be inducted on. That's
Yes.
fabulous. What a special date.
I deserve a real chocolate.
We'll try to arrange that at the end. I don't know. Some say I have magical powers. We'll see if it works. Or maybe it'll just have to be you at midnight in your pajamas going into the garage, okay?
I've not been for 4 nights. 4 nights I've not been to the garage. That's good.
Good for you. It's hard.
Congratulations. I have my Belgian chocolates right next to me.
I had them in the freezer. It's closer.
Than the garage.
The garage.
I love how she says that.
Would you like me to continue?
Yes.
Oh, yes, please.
There we are. It went right past one slide. Fellow Toastmasters, this is a section of the meeting that I'm unfamiliar with, and I'm so very proud to have been asked to be part of it because, as I said, as I finished the other section, we are the lab. We are the place where you experiment, you grow, you change, so you can take it out into the real world. The people whose names you see on the screen, your president, Cynthia, your VP, Mohammed, and Deborah, and Tafiq, your secretary, Michelle, your treasurer, Linda, and your sergeant-at-arms, Curtis. They have embraced this opportunity by agreeing to serve as your officers for the club. I know they think of it as service, and it certainly is a service to all of us. But understand that as each one of us takes on roles, both in our club and external to our club, in other parts of Toastmasters, that we gain so much more as we give back to others. And it is not moving forward.
Finicky, huh?
It is a little bit, and I'm not quite sure why.
Yeah.
There's a long list of members who laid the foundation club, the charter members. I was a charter member of a club, and I know myself that the time we spent figuring out how to make that club successful, laying that foundation, has taken that club to be the longest serving advanced club in my province in British Columbia. And we did it because we were thoughtful. When I listened to Cynthia talk about the club and others of you talk about the club, one of the things that struck me so much about Leaders Worldwide is this team of people that were your charter members really spent time figuring out how to make this club successful, to do things that would change not the Toastmaster program, but to select the things from it that could serve existing leaders. So our charter members include Cynthia and Deborah, Isaac, Kathleen, Kimmy, Linda, Lynn, Maureen, Dr. Michelle. Now, if we're lucky, we'll go to the next slide here. We will not. It's just not. And you'll see some more. Sally and Sandra and Seema, Carolyn, Cassandra, Curtis, Kadisha, Lakshmi, Linda, Michelle, Misty, Rosalind, Rosemary, Tafiq, Susan, Swarna, Teresa, Mohammed. In no particular order, I gather, because I see them all over the place, but I look at those names and I look how many of them have a DTM in front of their name, how many of them were already accomplished speakers coming in as charter members to help you form a club that would support and serve you. We have two people who are now joining the club, Seema Giri and Talha bin Hamid, as new DTMs. It doesn't mean you weren't accomplished speakers when you arrived, but it acknowledges the highest level of leadership. And I should say that at the present time, it's not always been so, and I'm not sure what the pathway was for Seema and Talha, but at the present time, it means we finish 2 complete pathways, but we go on to lead and serve others. So we run a Speechcraft or a youth leadership. We help form a new club. We serve as a club cheerleader, a coach, a mentor, and we take leadership beyond the club level. So to be a DTM is to acknowledge that there's so much more to Toastmasters than what happens on Monday at noon or whatever other day you attend a club. So let's congratulate our 2 newest DTMs.
And Tala got his 4th DTM.
Thank you. And you know, for some people, that's really important to get multiple DTMs. And because they know that when you push yourself to go for the award, you do more than you otherwise would. And it's pushing yourself to do more than you otherwise would that gives you the full benefit of being in this organization. This club already has a rich history of distinguished Toastmasters, and I've already described what the path is. So let's take a moment, and you can do just a little clap with your fingers if you like for Cynthia and Michelle and Linda, Deborah, Carolyn, Swarna, and Seema. And Talha and Rosalind and Rosemary, Lola, Misty, and Elizabeth. I'm not sure if there isn't another slide of this, so I'm going to go to the next slide here. There is not. So let's take a moment to thank our existing DTMs. welcome the new one. And for those of you who have that far ahead in your program, Carla's new to the Toastmaster program, just get a pathway done. Just find that first footing for yourself, and you'll begin to see the amazing power of this organization to move you from where you were to where you really could be. We're all either growing or we're dying. So don't become dying, become growing. One of the ways to do that is to serve in a district office or beyond. It's interesting that this club has so many members from all around the world who have already served or are currently serving. Talha is a district director in Pakistan, and a district director usually has 100 or more clubs that they are responsible for. Carolyn, program quality director in Northern California. Elizabeth, club growth director. And we know that each time we form a new club, we bring new people in to experience the power of Toastmasters. Swarna, club growth director in Singapore. Linda in Northern California, an area director. And if you're just getting started, look for an opportunity to serve in your club first, but then for goodness sakes, take on area director. You'll have about 3 or 4 clubs, maybe 5 that you're responsible for. And it is the most amazing experience because they find you absolutely amazing. They think you know everything, and you get to know them personally, so you can make every presentation so customized and personalized to that audience. Of all the jobs I've ever had in Toastmasters, area director, which was then called area governor, was my absolute favorite because it was so personal. It was such a rewarding first leadership experience beyond my club. Well, we have some other area directors here. So Deborah and Joe, this is just such an important role for our members to have. We have past area director Cynthia, and Michelle has been an area director, and Seema has been an area director. Lola, a division director. So that's taking on several areas. So that's the next step up. And we have Rosalind and Rosemary, who've also served in that role. I never served in that role. We didn't have them when I was first in Toastmasters. I guess we just didn't have enough clubs, not sure. But carrying on, we have current area director Curtis Greaves in Barbados. Oh, I had my Barbados story. I just realized that. And we had past area director Kadisha and Victor in past area director in Sacramento. So I look at all these people and I think you've already figured it out, that if you sit there, you just get a few things from Toastmasters. If you get active, you get a lot from Toastmasters. And while you're getting it, you give. So if you're a person who loves to give, it's a great experience. I love this line that's on the end of your slides. None of us gets better alone in our office. Do your rehearsal, be ready, but go before your club, because that level of stress, that level of risk, that's what makes us better. So together we can.
Beautiful. And can we have 5 more minutes on the clock for the next segment? Or is that all of them?
That's what I was given.
That was
the more that you want, but I don't know about.
That's right, because but then your timing was perfect. Awesome. Thank you. Back to you, Miss Toastmaster.
If we could get the screen unshared, I am back on the stage, and I want to introduce Isaac again for him to let our next speaker know what her speaking timing is. I know you went through this before, Isaac, but it's been a while. So if you would just quickly remind her.
Yes, okay. Linda Patton's speech will be 5 to 7 minutes. So at 5 minutes, the green, 6 minutes, the yellow, and 7 minutes, the red. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. And next, I would like to invite her evaluator, Cynthia Stott, to come to the stage to tell us what her PAC project and objectives are.
Okay, my camera's off because I'm reading here. Linda Patton is on team collaboration, level 2, understanding your leadership style. And her evaluation form gives us her project objectives. The purpose statements is that the purpose of this project is for the member to learn about different communication styles and identify his or her primary style. The purpose of the speech is for the member to share the impact of his or her style as on others. And the member delivered a well-organized speech with some aspect of communication style. The member may choose to speak about his or her own communication style or the impact of communication style on others. The speech may be humorous, informational, or any style that the member chooses. The speech should not be a report on the content of understanding your communication style. Okay, so that's Linda Patton. Back to you, Ms. Toastmaster.
Yes, and I would like to introduce the speaker, Linda Patton, The Art of Leadership. The Art of Leadership, Linda Patton. You take the stage, please.
First of all, I have to follow Margaret Hope. I love the fact that she said, oh, hope that the person in front of you doesn't speak as well as you do. Well, I know that I can't possibly be as good as she is, but I do have a topic that is my life. It's what I do for a living. It's what I'm passionate about. And by the way, Cynthia, it's not communications, it's leadership.
Leadership styles, yes.
Yes,
Sorry.
ma'am. So I started in leadership as a reluctant leader, I like to say. In fact, I wrote a book called The Art of Herding Cats, Leading Teams of Leaders. And it was a 12-step program, which I like to say was for recovering reluctant leaders. I started, to be honest with you, I started out in 1970. I was a mere child in the military. I chose to join the United States Army for a couple reasons. The main one was that my boyfriend had been killed in a helicopter crash, and I felt an overwhelming need to complete the mission that he'd started in Vietnam. Unfortunately, I also knew that I'd have to lead in order to do that. So I had to pull up my big girl pants and step into that role. Now, the interesting thing I also knew was that far too many officers in Vietnam were being killed by their own men because of how they led. This was frightening. I observed every male leader that I could. There were not as many women leaders, although the Women's Army Corps had its own separate place to be. At Fort McClellan, Alabama, we had our own headquarters up on the hill. We had our own flagpole. We had our own ceremonies, and it drove the men down the hill crazy that we were allowed to do that. I learned that in the military, the style of leadership is command. Now, in Toastmasters, they give you a whole list of different styles. I'm only going to talk about 3. They're the 3 that I know best. The first one of which is command. I learned from the best. These men knew how to give commands. They knew how to get people to follow them up a hill, take a hill, do whatever it is that they needed to do. You did it because they told you to. I was honored to become the battalion adjutant, which meant that I got to stand on a parade field of 2,400 women and command them to move. And to be honest with you, it's really kind of cool to open your mouth and say, battalion, battalion, and watch 2,400 women all move at once. Like, ooh, this is actually kind of cool. I loved it. However, as I learned, command has no room for emotion. My emotions and how I felt were tucked away in a back bedroom, never to be let out, unless I was taking a really warm bath with some wonderful candles and music and a good book. Otherwise, it stayed there and did whatever it does when it's in a bedroom quietly by itself. I carried command with me when I left the military. I went into corporate life. Now you realize that at that time, again, you were talking about the 70s and the early 80s, that the bulk of the men in charge of industry were ex-military. They'd come out of the Vietnam War. They knew command. So all of my bosses, all of my mentors were commanders. It's what I knew. I felt right at home, and I fell into that same structure. Now, the hard part with that is you don't ever, and Margaret talks about, humor and connecting with your audience. In command, you don't connect. The whole idea is you just want these people to follow you. You don't care what they think about it. You don't care what they feel about it. All you want is that command followed. I actually had a senior sergeant who said to me, "Ma'am, I will never salute you. I will find every way under the sun to walk away from you." And he did, until I walked in the other direction and came up into his face. Anyway, I found I was very happy there, but I lost my job. My bank was swallowed up by another bank, and I was without a job. I decided I'm going to become an entrepreneur. I'm going to do my own thing. I know that this is a perfect time to pivot out of command and to try that thing that John Maxwell talks about, is that leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. I said, okay, I'm going to try that. Let's see what that looks like. I'm going to put that on. I'm going to take the emotions out of my bedroom and off the bathtub and see what I can do. What I found, though, was influence was too soft. It's like Mama Bear in the Three Bears, Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Her bed was too soft. I gave and I gave and I gave and I gave. And what I got back was, well, you could do this for me. You could do this for me. You could do this for me. And I was doing their work and my work, and it wasn't working. And I was at a point of saying, I'm going to throw in the towel. I'm done with this. I am never going to be a leader again. Goodbye. Well, this comes to my discovery, which was to take the elements of command and the elements of influence and bring them together to create confluential leadership. It is the blending of command and influence. It allows you as a leader to flow with the people that you're serving, your clients, so you're not one and done with your clients, with your employees or the people who work with you, so that they're also not one and done or disappearing in the night, running to the hills saying, never again, I'm not going to work for her, she's terrible. My gift to Toastmasters and to the world is the ability to step into command, influence, and to become influential. Join me and awaken the leader and be all that you can be.
Okay, thank you so much, Linda. That was great. I've heard this speech before, but this is the best ever. I want to ask Taufik to put a minute on the clock so that our evaluator can write down her notes.
That'd be Isaac.
Oh, you're right. Thank you.
Sorry.
That's what it said. It just was speaking before I was thinking. Thank you so much, Isaac. And now I would like to have Kathleen Phil come to the stage as our general evaluator and go ahead and introduce your team so that we can get an evaluation for Linda. Thank you.
And that would be our wonderful evaluator and president and guardian angel, Ms. Cynthia Stott. Come to this stage, please.
Oh, don't I get table topics first?
Oh, did I miss table topics? Wait.
I think you do table topics first.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
Part of leadership, announce colors, table topics. You're right. Sorry, skipped ahead. I need Isaac to announce the table topics timing and then to have Sheena Walker come to the stage and introduce table topics. So Isaac, you're first.
Okay, great. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. The table topics will be from 1 to 2 minutes. So at 1 minute, I will show you the green, at 1.5, the yellow, and at 2 minutes, the red. And you will have 15 seconds to wrap it up. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Isaac. And now I would like to introduce Sheena Walker to the stage, and she is going to pose 3 questions and invite 3 people to speak impromptu. Sheena, the stage is yours. Don't forget to unmute yourself.
I think that's me now. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, distinguished guests and Toastmaster. Tonight I've got some special questions that fits in with our theme, and I'd like you to answer the questions that I ask on a personal level and a professional level. So there will be two points to the question I ask, if that's okay. So the very first question that I'd like to ask to Isaac is, when was the last time, Isaac, you did something for the first time?
Thank you for that question, Madam Table Topics Master. The last time I did something for the first time was probably get married. That's the first time I've ever done that. So as a business proposition, actually, I look at marriage as a business. I mean, it's like not really business, but it's like when you get married, you want your partner to be the opposite of you. So when you put those two together, it works out and makes a powerful team. So the first thing that I've done for the first time was getting married. And then the second thing was to not make it run as a business, but coordinate it so you had 2 different minds working together. Thank you for that question, Madam Toastmaster.
Well, thank you, Isaac. That was a very smart answer. Thank you. Great. The second question that I'd like to ask to Teresa. Are you okay for me asking you a question, Teresa?
Of course.
Is that okay?
Of course.
Thank
Make
you.
it an easy one.
It is easy. I think you'll find it very easy. Steve Jobs told us, be a square peg in a round hole and be different. Would you like to tell me, if you're a square peg in a round hole and you're different and stand out, tell me how you stand out.
It is my mission in life to be a square peg in a round hole. It seems that throughout so much of my life, I have followed other people and was told, well, by leaders who were in command mode, do this, do that, my way or the highway. And you know, it's gotten quite tiresome. So perhaps I have gone to the other extreme and become a bit of a rebel and am trying to explore many different ways to, as the marketing people tell us, differentiate myself from the stereotypical person in my profession. So I have, instead of I just had new headshots done, and instead of a very proper three-piece suit kind of headshot for a accounting and financial professional, we did something a little bit much more fun. And then someone said to me, with my hair blowing and, you know, kind of the glamour shot, and someone said, you know, that's very much the way I see your personality. So I was very happy about that and will continue to explore that aspect of myself. Thank you for a lovely question.
Thank you, Teresa. We've had really good answers. That's super. Thank you so much. Could I ask if we've got a guest here tonight that would like a question? Have we got a guest that would like to take a question? Michelle, can you help me out, please? Have we got a guest?
I'm looking to see if anybody raises their hands. Let's see. Eileen or Raji, Jay, you could always, or Wei Lin.
Raji, we'll go for Raji. Is he, he's got his camera off. Is he there?
I don't know. Raji, are you there? Would you like to take a question?
Okay, what's the question?
Yeah, I'm here, but I don't know what was the question.
Okay, no, Raji, are you there? Is he coming back on?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so Raji, go ahead, Sheena, give her the question.
Can you put your camera on, please?
Oh my God, here is, if I open the camera, it's like a black, because here.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay, I'll pose you the question. Jim Rohn tells us winning isn't everything, winning is the only thing. Can you tell me, what does winning mean to you?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
Okay. Jim Rohn, a famous person, tells us that winning isn't everything, it's the only thing is to win. Can you tell me what winning means to you?
Oh, winning means like a hardworking, like you need to put effort. If you want to achieve anything, if you want to win anything, you need to practice every day. Focus on the goal, and every time you should put effort every time, like what you want aim. That's a set of goals. You just reminding that same every time. I want to achieve that, like that. So winning is so like a consistency also most important to winning to or achieve any goals, and practice is only so making perfect. So in my opinions, practice, keep practicing. If you want to anything to achieve your life, practicing and consistency and put effort and involvement and interesting, and to care what you want, like if you want to achieve anything, you go to love that. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jay. That was a very good description of winning. I liked how you said practice, practice, practice. That's what athletes do. And And winning doesn't happen by chance, does it? It comes with the effort and the goals and practicing. So thank you very much for that good description. And thank you to the 3 people that answered these probably quite challenging questions that I had. But thank you so much for diligently answering them in a lovely way. Thank you.
Thank you so much giving for such a wonderful opportunity for me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Sheena. That was a bunch of very interesting questions. I like the way that you engaged our group and got some very unique answers about how to be successful in life. Next, we're going to go back where I was a moment ago. You know, we're going to just kind of replay again. So I want to invite Kathleen on the stage to invite our evaluator to step up and give her evaluation of our esteemed speaker.
And Mr. Timer, would you kindly just give us the timing parameters for the evaluation?
Yes, the timing for the evaluation will be 2 to 3 minutes. So at 2 minutes, I will show the green, 2.5, the yellow, and 3 minutes, the red. Thank you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, sir. And so, Ms. Cynthia Stott, our evaluator, you have the pleasure of delivering an evaluation to Linda.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kathleen. And talk about that egg in the room. I had a loud noise in my apartment because the buzzer got stuck and I had to go unstick the buzzer. So I'm really glad for table topics. Well, it is my pleasure to evaluate Linda Patton. And Linda, I have been evaluating you since what? 2013, 14, something like that, way before you became a Toastmaster. And you just, like a fine wine, you're getting better and better and better. Thank you. And your speech that you started with today, you started with that story of your boyfriend who was killed in Vietnam. And that's why you became a major in the US Army. It's so touching to me. And I know it was only recently, maybe 3-4 months ago, that you started sharing that vulnerable story. And I so appreciate it. And I loved your overall vulnerability about who you were as a leader and who you are as a leader, and how it wasn't serving you to do command or influence, but you had to bring them together. Your journey of leadership was beautiful in that story. And I loved how you had humor and inspiration. And I think a speech needs 4 things: inspiration, humor, vulnerability, and twist. And I think that twist was something different that you told us about your boyfriend who was killed. And also that many other officers were being killed in Vietnam by their own men. I wonder what that's about. So I'd like to know more about that. You kind of dropped an egg for us to investigate for later. So maybe that will be in another speech. Where I would love to see you stretch this to, and I know you're doing it already, so it's just keep on keeping on, is sharing it with more leaders, more women, especially leaders, and more leaders in general, that we need both of those sides, the command and the influence. And whether you're in corporate or in a volunteer organization like Toastmasters, you need influence and you need command to keep the structure together. I love it. I love it. I love it. I can't wait for your next one. And I just see you on bigger and bigger stages. Thank you so much.
Beautiful, Cynthia. I'm to do a quick little evaluation of the evaluation. And the word of the day today is beginnings. And so Cynthia demonstrated little magic dewdrops for the multiple DTM and for the beginners on the Toastmasters pathway, we all can learn about finding the positive, what excited me, the evaluator, bringing that forward. And then Cynthia used the keys of, what were they here? Humor, authenticity, inspiration, and then a twist. And Cynthia demonstrated that twist in her own natural speech when she talked about what Linda can do even more, where she can take it next. And that's a trick to give a recommendation for growth to Linda. Excellent job. And I would like to now just bring it right over to our wonderful guardrail support team. What would we do without our support team? For instance, Mr. Isaac Ford, our timer. Would you kindly just give us a quick description of where we went off the guardrails or if we stayed in the middle of the road?
Okay, thank you for that, Madam GE. I will only report on the over or under because everyone else was on time. And the only over that I showed was the Q&A, and I can't blame that on our keynote speaker. Our only president, you are guilty for that. But other than that, we are running on time and everyone made the time. Back to you, Madam GE.
You know what? We laid an egg and I love it because who was at fault? It was our greedy desire to get more from Margaret. That's what made us late. And Ms. Grammarian, Ms. Sally Reyes, would you give us a little report on the words and the grammar and the ahs and the ums?
Thank you. I am probably guilty of listening so hard to the entire content that I didn't catch as many goofs, but I will report. I don't even know who else used beginnings except Catherine. I must have missed it. But Michelle had an on, ums, and ands, and Sheena a so. So that's pretty terrific for the 2 hours. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sally. I agree with you. It's very hard to find little points that don't work when there's so much going on that is enchanting and which does work. It's time for me to give a quick evaluation of the meeting proceedings. And I am so happy just to cuddle up with you all. I was really reaffirmed and almost embarrassed at how Margaret said everything I want to say. And I do my best to say it, but you know, I'm sitting here thinking, oh man, she's already said it. What's there to say? It's like Shakespeare. What are you going to do next? But what I got from Margaret is you gotta love it. You gotta love my own mistakes. You gotta love the sharp edges. You gotta love the failures, the prospect of following Margaret, of taking my next step. And what is it about? It's about, I want to be with you. It's about, I care about you, because when we get together, I am at my best. You are at your best. I really got that from this meeting. And it was technically pretty darn good too. So I would like now to check, do we have our wonderful, I think we lost.
Mohammed? Is Mohammed here?
Yes, I guess Mohammed is not here. Oh, by the way, Idama Raphael, greetings. Glad to have you.
He fell off and he's came back. Would you like to then just tell everybody real quickly about Easy Speak? That please answer, I guess I am, answer your emails for Easy Speak, for your roles that are coming up. We're really trying to do that more and more through the website itself. So we don't have to bother you in the meeting, and we don't have to text you and email you and all that kind of stuff. So we're hoping to get up and running smooth as syrup in January, where everybody will be trained, because in our Speechcraft, we're focusing on that and teaching you how to do Easy Speak. So stay tuned.
One way to describe it is if you're constantly working on your go-kart, as when you're constantly fixing the wheels, you can't go, you can't move fast. So let's get the little technical details down. And this coming Thursday at 11 o'clock Pacific time, we're going to have a fun meeting. It's going to be a good crowd, and we will record it if you cannot come. But if you can come, please do. Please enjoy the experience, get engaged, because we're going to be pestering you. Might as well come along.
Absolutely. So watch your emails for that, for Kathleen's invitation to you. And
it'll come from Dr. Michelle.
It will come from Dr. Michelle. So watch your emails for Dr. Michelle for the notification about Easy Speak meeting. That will be great. And I just want to give a personal note. As your president, I want to do amazing things, like inviting fantastic speakers like Margaret Hope, and bringing in new members that are already DTMs and district leaders and above. But I can't, because I have to work on the agenda. Sledging. Honestly, at least 4 hours a week. And if you can do your part and sign up for roles, I can go out and get us some amazing speakers and amazing members. So I'm looking forward to that in January, when I don't have to devote at least 4 to 6 hours that's conservative, every single week to our agenda. So please do your part, answer those Easy Speak emails, and we'll get this rocket ship launched and loaded. Awesome. Thank you, Kathleen. and now go ahead.
I just turn the lectern over to the new hat of the Cynthia Stott, who will now act as president and do the announcements and the takeaways and chocolates.
Great. Thank you, Kathleen. And the announcements, I think the only announcements we have is Speechcraft is happening. And we're going to November 1st next week. I can't believe it's already November 1st. We're going to have 10 speakers speaking in 5 breakout rooms and 1 meeting room. So it's going to be a real amazing speakers fest. So we stay tuned for that for next week. Other than that,
Michelle has her hand up.
Yes.
Well, I think we have something else to announce. I think we're going to have a special time in December for the season of the coming of the lights. We're going to have a special meeting in which we're going to have a game where people are going to all participate in a table topics that is a chain table topics. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to celebrate the worldwide celebration of the different cultures in terms of how we celebrate the return of the light at that solstice. So we're going to be doing that in December, and look for the announcement.
And that'll be December 13th. And then we came up with this amazing table topic thing to do called Add a Tale, T-A-L-E. And we're going to add on to each other's table topic. And we're just going to do an extra long table topic. So that should be amazingly fun. And thank you, Michelle, for reminding me that we're going to have that special meeting December 13th. So mark your calendar for our special holiday festival of lights to celebrate. And then the Add a Tale. Great. Anything else I missed? All good.
I think that's all I have. Thank you, Cynthia.
Awesome. Thank you, Michelle. And now it's our favorite time to share. What are you taking away with you? What touched you? What are you taking forever with you? And we'd like to start with our keynote speaker, Margaret Hope. And we thank you for staying the whole time to be with us. So I'm so glad that you could be here.
I'm taking away so many things, fellow Toastmasters and guests. First of all, I've seen some technology that I had not seen before used in Zoom. So I'm grateful to get that. And now, of course, I've got questions. I'm taking away another experience of giving parts of this speech and seeing reactions to it and wondering what else to do with it. And I'm taking away that feeling of humility. There is still learning for me in Toastmasters, that this organization, as long as I've been in it, has sustained me in so many ways, but it also challenges me. So I got anxious before my speech today. I was challenged by my conclusion today. I am challenged by and humbled by your kindness and your responses to me. So thank you for that, Cynthia.
Oh, beautiful. Our pleasure. One more big round of applause. Woo! Yay. And thank you so much for being here. And I know you didn't have that much time to prepare. I only contacted you, I think 2 weeks ago. So it was very kind of wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. It was really fast and furious. So we just thank you so much. And it's our tradition to give away not real chocolates. I wish we could. We did in person.
Oh.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Sheena. But we have virtual chocolates for you, and whatever kind you want. Belgian chocolate or Swiss chocolate or hazelnut chocolate, raspberry chocolate.
White chocolate. I've been on to white chocolate now.
Or white chocolate. What would you like, Margaret?
I'll have dark, please. And I would, yes. And I would love it if it had like a fruit cream in the middle, something raspberry would be lovely.
Ooh, fruit cream raspberry in the middle. Ah, and it's going to come from Ghirardelli from San Francisco.
Break my heart.
So here you go. Woo! Flying across the miles. Awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Margaret. And does anyone else have their hand up to share their takeaway? Isaac, can you see if anyone else has their hand up? Some of our guests, perhaps? I would love if my guest, Dorothy, is still here, I'd love to hear from her, or my guest, Raji, I think her name is Siva.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes, hello.
Hello, ma'am.
What did you think of it? And you got to do a table topic. It's your first Toastmasters meeting, and you got to do a table topic, an impromptu speech. So you did a wonderful job. So how did you enjoy? How did you like the experience? What was your experience like, Raji?
First time I'm talking to them. Oh, a little bit nervous inside, but I can able to speak. I believe myself, and after that I try to speak. Whatever it is,
Beautiful.
yeah, whatever has come in my mind, I just speak.
Ah,
I really enjoy.
And you did great. And if you haven't noticed, you didn't die. You spoke and you didn't die. So Raji is a beautiful English language learner that I met on WhatsApp, and she's trying to improve her English. And I told her the best way was at Toastmasters, and that if she liked it, we would start to train her as a timer, so she could come and be engaged all the time with us, with listening with timing and then speaking with timing. So I hope that you will join us on our project.
Definitely.
Oh,
I will. Maybe one day.
fabulous. Did you enjoy yourself today?
Yeah, really. Now I'm over the moon.
Over the moon. I love it. I love it. Would you like a chocolate?
Yeah.
Okay, here comes a chocolate through the airwaves to you. 1, 2, 3, whoosh! Our special treat. No sugar, no calories. Thank you very much, Raji. You spoke twice today. Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. And someone else raising their hand, Isaac?
I am looking, and
I'd like to hear from Eileen. Eileen sent me a lovely little notation celebrating our anniversary, and I wanted to put it in the chat, but I got blocked. So I'll have to send it out to the membership, but she sent a little card for us saying congratulations on our anniversary. So maybe she could say it in person.
Sweet. Hi, Eileen. Would you like to unmute and talk with us? Is she there?
Yes, she's there. She's coming.
She's coming. Great. And she's been a guest of ours many times. We so appreciate
There
her.
it is. See, there it is. Thank you, Eileen.
You're welcome. I wish I could have stayed more and heard more, but what I did hear was awesome. So.
Oh, lovely. You made a certificate for us. How
Yes, she did.
lovely. Yeah, and if we get that, we can post it on our WhatsApp group.
Oh, I could do that because she sent it to me. So I can do that unless Eileen wants to do that.
Yeah, put it in our WhatsApp group for our members and our WhatsApp group for our guests. That would be great.
All right.
Okay, do you want to share something, Eileen? Can we see your face? Maybe not. Okay, well, I'd like to hear from our newest members on the induction ceremony. How did that feel, Sheena?
Yes, I usually think I've got the confidence to deal with anything. I didn't know what to expect tonight. I was sitting with bated breath thinking, what's Cynthia going to say? What's coming next? What's Margaret going to ask me to do? But that was all very nice. And it was almost the last time I had something like that was when I became a Christian, when I was in church. I was thinking, it's almost like being in the church. You know, I said, yes, I will. I hold my hand up. Yes, I will. I hold yeah. So it was very nice. Thank you. I'd like to just leave you with a little message that listening to the smiles tonight and the laughter and the humor is very much part of what my heart looks for every day, 24/7. So I'd like to leave you with a little quote, which is, if you meet somebody without a smile tomorrow, give them one of yours.
How precious. And so true. So true. Would you like a chocolate? Of course you would. Right? You want a real one. I know.
I know. Because I'm going to have to go to the garage tonight.
Raid the garage.
I think it's the garage beside my house, but it's the garage where you get petrol.
Oh my gosh. Oh, you mean the gas station?
Funny.
Oh
Yes.
my goodness.
Yes. The girl said, when I was there 4 nights ago, she said, nice onesie, nice pajamas.
Sneaking out in your pajamas and sneakers to get some. I was just thinking it was in your garage in your house.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, we'll make you some extra juicy special chocolates virtually, okay? And maybe they'll hold you over. Do you think
Till
so?
tomorrow. Till
Till
tomorrow.
Till tomorrow. With chocolate and raspberry and I like salted caramel in them. So here it comes. 1, 2, 3. Woo! Awesome, Sheena. Awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I forgot to give Eileen her chocolates. Do you want some chocolates, Eileen? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Here they come. 1, 2, 3. Whoosh! Chocolates. And our lovely Carla Richmond, would you like to share what your experience was like being inducted as our newest member? Or did she have to vote? Is she there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Hi, Carla.
Hi, Cynthia. It was nice being inducted. And I definitely enjoyed listening to people speak about humor because humor is very important. And I'm feeling rather quiet today, so I need to go back and be quiet. Thank you.
Okay. And you know how important humor is because you are the founder of Giggle Fest University and you have your laughter challenge. So great. And would you like a chocolate?
No, I think I'll skip it today.
Okay. Would anyone else like to share? Do you have any raised hands, Isaac?
I am looking and I do not see anyone.
And we have 1 minute left, so.
Oh, Michelle has her hand up.
Okay, Michelle.
Okay, so I was totally inspired by Margaret's speech and her way of using disaster as a source of humor. I think that's such a beautiful solution to those mishaps that are going to happen the more you speak. It's inevitable. And it's also a really great way to bring humor into your speech, especially for those of us who have some challenges with humor. It's like the universe will support us. So I'm looking forward to doing the humor pathway next.
Yes.
Oh, awesome. You inspired a whole pathway, Margaret. I love it. Well, thank you so much. Oh, I have to give you your chocolate.
Dark
Michelle,
chocolate,
would you like
please.
Oh, here it comes.
100% black.
Oh, delicious. 1, 2, 3. Boom. There you go. Oh, and no sugar, no calories. Well, thank you so much for being here. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope you did too. And I hope you can come back and visit us soon at Leaders Worldwide. But bye for now. Bye. Awesome. Thank you, Margaret.
Thank you for inviting me.